Okay, so finally up and running. That's why I like video. I can use my 2-hour boot up time and you still don't know it. Okay, this is something I forgot. I have centrifuge set up in the startup program, so it automatically goes straight to it. So bear with me 1 second. Let it come up and then we'll turn it right back off. I'm not using it as a shell. I just put a shortcut to centrifuge startup in the start menu for Windows. Now what that does, that allows me to still use the Windows desktop, but I don't have to do anything particular to get centrifuge to start up. I can just, once I start the car, it'll go through the Windows boot up and eventually centrifuge will start up. It takes about 45 seconds though, so it kind of sucks. But I believe that's because I'm running 7 and 7. I haven't tweaked the system enough yet to shut things off from starting up. So, and also I'm using centrifuge 3, so this will look a little different to you too. Alright, so we exit out of centrifuge, we're back to the desktop. What you're going to do here is anywhere on the desktop, anywhere but on the icon, you want to right click. It's going to bring up a menu. We want to go into the graphics property. Okay, that's going to bring up your graphics card software, which should look like this. Now, mine is set to dual clone display. Okay, notice my primary device is set to television. That's where you might be having an issue as well, because you might, number one, only have it set to single display, and that single display might be set to monitor. If that is the case, that's why you can't see it on the car screen. It has to be set to television. Okay, I set mine to dual clone display, only because if I ever plug the monitor in, I need to be able to see what I'm doing. But if I use the television as a primary, then that's going to be where all the desktop items are. Actually, it doesn't even matter because they're both cloned anyway. Alright, so make sure you have it set up to either, if you have it on single display, that's fine, but make sure the primary device is set to television, not monitor. I strongly suggest you just run it as dual clone, setting the primary number 1 to television and the secondary number 2 to monitor, just in case. Now over here, there's some tabs. So that was under display devices. Then we're going to go under the display settings. And up here you have both settings for the television and for the monitor. Okay, the lowest resolution that you can possibly make this thing go is 800 by 600. That's what you want on the television. Okay, that's as low as it's going to go. Don't worry about it. Centrifuge will take over and scale it down to the 480 by 620 that it wants. But as far as the graphics card go, this is as low as it'll go. Okay, the video standard, mine is set to NTSC-M. That works. There are several in there. If you have that set on the wrong one, you'll basically get a lot of distortion on the screen. NTSC-M is the one that works for me. Actually, I think J works too, but I haven't played with it. PAL does not work. Okay, we are not on a PAL format with this video screen. So if you choose one of those, all you'll see is a bunch of wavy lines. So you got that. Now this is key. That little box will not be checked full screen. Default is to leave that off. What you want to do is make sure it is checked, because what that'll do is when it's in that 480 by 620 display, it'll make sure that you're filling up the screen. And then once you have those set, you can set your monitor to whatever you want. Refresh rate, you got aspect ratios, you can go into the advanced settings and change that, but usually the monitors are pretty much, they talk to the system and tell it what it wants anyway. So once you have those set, you just hit apply. Actually, I don't even remember what's on the TV settings. Oh, you can change your color scale, you can position the screen a little bit to your left, you can move things over a little bit, which I'm going to actually turn on my front screen and show you what that's doing. And you will see why I'm using the big monitor, because you can't see crap. Actually, it's not too bad. Anyway, you can move the screen over and up, down if it's not exactly centered by using those little arrows. Okay. But if you're doing this in the car, make sure the car is running, that battery goes real quick. Alright, so you can also adjust the color. I usually don't mess around with this too much without HD disc, but we're in a car, so get real, leave it alone. And sharpness you can set, really not necessary to adjust that either. It's just how picky you want to be. The thing to remember, and I don't know how many times I told this to people, if you don't hit this little button right here, everything you just did is null and void. And you're like, why won't it work? I made all the changes. Yeah, you did, but you didn't apply them. So we're going to hit apply. Let it save it. It'd be nice if it would tell you that it saved it. But anyway, as long as you hit apply, it's good. To verify, close it out. Right click again. Go back into screen resolutions. Actually, graphic properties. And then just double check, make sure everything is like it's supposed to be, which it is. And that's it. Now there also is a screen resolution under here. This is actually another way to change stuff on the fly real quick. You can set it up to 1 or 2 monitors. Resolution, again, the lowest you can go is 800 by 600. That's by default. You can dial it up to 1024 by 768, but the higher the resolution, the smaller the icons. And remember, we're in a car. So on the screen, higher resolution looks great. Oh, it's nice and crisp, but on that car monitor, you won't be, it's bad enough you can't see it anyway. But you wouldn't be able to see anything, they'd be so small. Alright, so that's how it's set up, that's how it should be working. Everything should work fine now. If you make those couple of changes, then you can unplug your keyboard and the system should boot up just fine. The fact that you hear the humming coming through the speakers tells me that everything is connected like it's supposed to be. We just got to get you to turn on that monitor to TV out, which should be that's real simple to do. The other thing is, you probably were not booting up, which is why all you heard was the humming, because it's not allowing itself to boot up because it's not detecting the keyboard. So we've covered that problem. Now I'm gonna shut this down, plug it back in the way I normally have it, and start the car, and let you hear that it still hums when it's still boot. It hums as it's booting up, even in my system. But as soon as Windows start, the humming just goes away. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, through the magic of time-lapse photography, everything's back together. I'm gonna start the car, let you hear what's going on while it's booting up, and you'll see. Here we go. Beeping noises, Valentine won't ignore that. And you can hear the humming. It's quite annoying. By the way, with the graphic card set up to TV output, you don't see the Windows logo at startup. You don't see any of that. The only thing you're gonna know is this desktop will pop up, and that'll be the end of that. Funny, because in XP you used to see the whining has gone away now. Now I know it's booting up. So we got our mouse, the cursor. Ow! And my dumb self forgot to plug the touchscreen back in, so won't be able to do a thing here.